Good morning. Hey now, happy Thursday. Can you believe it? Such a fast week so far with Memorial Day. Yeah, good morning. So today we're going to look at a composer, but yesterday we revisited Johann Strauss II, father of the waltz, not related to Richard, like I mentioned yesterday. So I hope you enjoyed that because, the Viennese waltz. But as I mentioned yesterday in the class, and we listened a little bit to this composer, we're going to just dive in a little bit more to him today with our more advanced or, just different. The waltz was alive and well in Mexico. What was going on in Mexico? We're going to look at a very important composer that we mentioned yesterday, but violinist and composer, Juventino Rosas. So with Strauss, the big thing was the Blue Danube, right? But that was a forbidden dance. Waltz goes back to, there was always waltzes, probably, but 13th century Germany was when, people started writing down waltzes more. So Juventino, he's born in 1868. He doesn't live long. 1894 he's dead. So he's about 21 when he writes his big piece. So we're gonna see the influence that Strauss had on him, but we have to get over there because Vienna is nowhere close to Mexico. So let's get out of Vienna. Let's go to Mexico. He's born in Guanajuato, Mexico, Santa Cruz. They renamed the town after him. That's how important this composer was. This guy wasn't really talked about though. I think Jessica Kirshner-Morgan, I think you chose one of his pieces in a film scoring, just as a side note. So very good listening. Rojas is important for the waltz that we're going to look at. Also for salon music. We've listened to music in the salon, which was kind of pop music, right? Only played, maybe at parties, in bars and saloons. But he wrote a lot of really great other music. European 19th century, late 19th century, a lot of solo piano pieces. And salon's interesting because it's kind of romantic pop music, but kind of coming from classical music. We're not into 20th century yet. It's I love that in between kind of ragtime jazz, but some romantic influence of Ravel and all that stuff. So Rojas began as just a street musician and played in a lot of dance bands, mostly in Mexico City. So we're kind of talking about Mexico City, but poor family, and turned to music kind of as some sort of income. And it was started playing the violin around the neighborhood, and I guess around age 12 started writing music. And supposedly wrote a waltz in exchange for a pair of shoes. That could be a true story, but as I was researching this, that's a good deal. And then, so goes into the conservatory, the music conservatory, around 1884. But he goes in twice, but he doesn't take any of the exams, so he gets formal training, but he doesn't graduate. Not really sure why, but we don't need training to be a great musician, to write a great song, of course, as we've seen that. So didn't get a diploma. So after dropping out, joins an orchestra about 1893, and they tour, and this is when he comes to America. And during this tour, he performs in one of the ensembles at the World Fair in Chicago. Now this might have been where because you think, how did he hear Strauss being in Mexico when Strauss was very famous in Europe? I don't know if you know, but there weren't, Spotify wasn't created back then. But so you think about if this is, unless you went to a concert and you had to really pay attention, like we talked about because you don't buy the record, you don't get a recording. There's no recordings of these things. So when you buy that ticket to go to the concert, you better pay attention. So I don't know what concert he went to, but maybe this is where he heard Strauss, because I don't think that there's any possible way he could have not heard Strauss, because the piece sounds so much like Strauss. Not a ripoff or anything like that. It's just I always try to think philosophically, like how do these things happen in different parts of the world almost at the same time? We're talking about like a 20-year difference. How did this happen? So maybe, and we looked at Strauss yesterday, he did come to America. So maybe that's where he was exposed. I mean, I guess it could have been coincidence that they both were writing grand waltzes at the same time without knowing each other. I'm sure Strauss didn't know of Rojas, but I don't know. That's something else. So he didn't live long though. Rojas didn't. He died at 26. So really, he wrote what he's most famous for. He was like 19 or 20, something like that. So inflammation of the spinal cord. So just terrible. So the big piece that we're talking about is the Over the Waves, and I mentioned Over the Waves in the last class, and published in Mexico. This was so famous and popular in Mexico. People loved this. So this is written 1888. So 21 years before is when Strauss came out with the Danube, which, as we looked at, was a big flop because it had lyrics, right? Then when he took the lyrics out, everyone started to love it. Everyone started to dance to it, So Mexico loved it. It became such a famous piece, and people said it was so well written that some people included it in programs of like waltz music by Strauss. Accidentally would program it because they thought either Strauss wrote it or it was a European, waltz-like. So it was kind of a mistaken piece and programmed, not wrong in several concerts, but I think it confused some people because it's like, what is this doing? What is this guy writing this kind of music in Mexico? At least that was a European view. So he was one of the most famous Mexican composers. We haven't looked at that many. We looked at Rodrigo, who's Spanish, a few weeks ago, but Rojas just thought he deserved a class, and one of the most recorded Mexican artists of all time. And too bad he didn't live long. I mean, he really died at 26. But they renamed the town after him. I mean, I don't know if that did him any good, but just such a great waltz and such a great. It is like you're on the waves, right? And you're going over the waves. It's just It's such a beautiful waltz. So I hope you're dancing while you're listening to this. So that's just a little bit of Juventino Rosas. Definitely deserves a class. We don't look at a lot of music in Mexico, when we do our classical classes. And that obviously this is a good example that there is great music being written in different parts of the world. There were great composers that we'll never hear of, probably, that wrote wonderful music. This guy wrote something at age 20 that still lives on, still programmed, still played with, just on the same quality as Johann Strauss. And just wanted to share this wonderful piece. Every time it comes on the radio on KUSC, I love it. So that's Rojas. Okay, so short week. Tomorrow's film screen results for Pirates of the Caribbean. So far, great. Can't wait to share that with you. Have a great rest of the day, and see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.